air power was not there. So that particular area which is shown in red color, you know, the power center,
Yes, sir.
that was more safe from attacks, right? Which is the safe place. And the most safe place, as per geography, was that red area. And that is called heartland. Heartland of this island. As per the theory stipulates that world is an island, right? And in this island, there is a heartland, there is a rimland. Heartland is red color, rimland is blue color. And in this island, there are small other islands, small islands. Those are white area, and that is the peripheral land. Peripheral. Although in that figure, periphery what is not used, but I am telling you that as per the theory, there were three zones: red zone, blue zone, and white zone. White zone is your periphery. And periphery strategically was not important. Blue was just okay. You need to be fighter because attack होते रहेंगे, आपको fight करता रहना पड़ेगा. And red was जन्नत, enjoy your life and make money. So business will be red in red area. All the headquarters will be in red area, and people actually became very rich. Became very rich in the red, and that richness created the political change, thinking change, political thinking. And the political change was communism. So communism came. But unfortunately, in 90 years, 70, 80 years of after the revolution, it collapsed. Communism collapsed. In which year it collapsed? When did the communism collapse in Russia?
नहीं उतना नहीं
1870 में तो आया ही नहीं था कम्युनिज्म.
यस सर 1970
It collapsed in 1991.
1990
जब कोल्ड वॉर खत्म हो गई. Cold War between USA was in the peripheral land, and Russia was in the so-called heartland. Right? The Cold War was going on, and that Cold War culminated in 1991 with the collapse of Russia. तो कम्युनिज्म भी collapse कर गया, रशियन एक्सपेरिमेंट भी फेल हो गया, राइट? सो घूम फिर के वही बात आ गई, गैप जरूरी है. गरीब गरीबी रहेगा बेचारा और अमीर अमीर हो जाएगा. यानी कि gap has to be acceptable. But maybe in future, again communism will come back. Although it is still there in China, it is still there in North Korea. But overall, if you look at this ball, there are very maybe 1 or 2% area in this ball which is communist. Rest of this ball is democratic, right? But democracy brings capitalism. Capitalism brings rich people. Rich people become more rich, and poor become more poor, and the gap increases. And then again, with time, the political geography of that place change. Again, the political thinking may change in future, right? So heartland theory is clear. Okay. Now, as I told you, that geopolitics leads to geostrategies that we have already discussed, and that is in the context of location, size, and all those things which I told you, and the political geography of that time period. So, one example of that is the geostrategy of Henry Kissinger, who was the president of US. You know, one example, which what he did, he used geopolitics of that time, to break, to fight the Cold War. You know what was the impact of Cold War on the business? Can somebody tell me? Cold War was also a geopolitical history, right, of that time period. So what was the impact on business? The impact on business was that war is a war, whether it is cold or whether it is hot. War means business will not grow. Number one. Number two, the world was divided into US bloc and Russian bloc. So US business can work only in US bloc, and Russian business will do business in Russian bloc, right? So half the world is out of bound from the US businesses. So these businesses wanted, ये war चाहे cold हो चाहे hot हो, we don't want any war. The war has to break. So what Henry Kissinger did, he after so many presidents, Henry Kissinger tried to create a tripolar world instead of a bipolar world. What is the meaning of bipolar world? In Cold War, either you are with Russia or you are with US. So either you are here or you are there. आप कहीं नहीं हो तो आप कुछ भी नहीं हो, right? So which means what is the meaning of this? That the world was divided into two parts. So bipolar world. So the only way what Kissinger thought was to create a third power. So that to make not bipolar but tripolar. So what it did? It tried to help China, which was part of the Russian part. And there was already some differences of opinion between Russian political thinking and Chinese political thinking. So they were both communist, but their political ideology had some difference, and they had been fighting internally, which US came to know. So they put fire in that differences, and what they did, they supported China starting from 1979, and that was the geopolitical strategy of Henry Kissinger. And slowly what happened, China became more and more important and dependent on the capitalist system, which is against the rule of communism, and China emerged as a very strong power. But what happened? That was the tripolar strategy of Henry Kissinger. But what actually happened, can somebody tell me? Did world become tripolar after the Cold War? And actually the result was okay. The Cold War ended in 1991. So geostrategy worked. But did the world become tripolar? This is my question to you. After this strategy, did the world become tripolar? Because what Henry Kissinger wanted, he wanted to create a tripolar world out of a bipolar world, right? Using geostrategies. And what are the geostrategy? To help China break out from Russian side, to make it tripolar, right? And it actually happened.
Sir, I'm not getting tripolar. What do you mean?
Tripolar means तीन powers. अभी तो क्या है कि in bipolar there are only two powers.
Russia and US.
Russia and US.
China.
There were only two blocks, Russian bloc, and till it is bipolar, Cold War will remain, obviously, right? So, so what is the way to break this stalemate? The way to break this stalemate was to create a tripolar world instead of bipolar world. So what US did, as per this strategy, they tried to help China become open, because open means capitalist, which is against the communist rules, right? And actually it happened. China got into that love for capitalism, actually, starting from 1979. And finally, China emerged as a very strong economic power, if not political, economic power. And and obviously, it broke out from from Russia. So, did world become a tripolar world?
Yes.
Can somebody tell me? Did world become tripolar? Is the world tripolar today?
Yes, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
In some
Absolutely no.
contexts, sir, but it is not a tripolar.
It is not a tripolar. First of all, Cold War ended, fine. So Russia is no more a very strong power.
Yes.
Okay.
But sir, it is emerging, sir.
Okay, emerging, right, correct. But emerging means not only Russia is emerging, Brazil is emerging, India is emerging, South Africa is emerging. There are BRIC countries which are emerging. Then China, of course, has already emerged. So today, world is not tripolar. Today, world is multipolar. That was not visualized by Henry Kissinger. Now, if Henry Kissinger would have realized that probably world will not become tripolar, it will actually become multipolar. Do you think that he would have gone for that geopolitical strategy? And if not, why? He would not have gone for that strategy if he would have thought that world will become multipolar, right? Because in any case, Europe and Japan were dependent on US. There were a lot of treaties and all. So they never thought that world will become multipolar. Indian power or Brazil power, or even in time to come, it is looking like Not only South Africa, but many other countries in Africa will emerge. So if they would have thought that world will become multipolar, they would not have gone to it. But what is the reason? Why they would not have liked to make the world a multipolar world? Why? What is the reason?
Maybe some countries are underdeveloped. Maybe they are
No.
not saving.
Yes, you are right. You are right. Some countries were underdeveloped that time also. Today also they are underdeveloped. But what is the problem with multipolar world from the US point of view? From the US geopolitical point of view? If the world become multipolar, some countries may emerge as a challenger to US. Isn't it? If what happens? Multipolar means competition. Right? In a market, या तो दो शेयर हो,
लेकिन सर एक मैन में दो तलवार नहीं रह सकती है।
आप ये भी कह सकते हो कि एक म्यान में दो तलवारें रह सकती, पर बिजनेस में इन द मार्केट देयर आर many swords, not one. अगर आप कोई भी मार्केट देखोगे वर्ल्ड में, whether it is computer market, whether it is telecom market, whether it is real estate, whether it is banking, is it that only few players are there?
No, sir.
Right? There are many players. Now what happens? What is happening? That earlier the lifetime of companies, Fortune 500 companies, was 50 years. Today it has reduced to 12 years.
12 years.
Right? In coming time, it will become even less. So that holds true for the countries also. Today, the lifespan of a superpower like USA is set 300 years or 200 years. In time to come, what is going to happen? The lifespan of the top powers would come down to say 100 years or maybe less. Right? So what will happen? So it will have a direct competition to US, which US would never like. Because US has enjoyed a powerful position for last more than 100 years already. Isn't it? So will they ever like to have a challenger? Right? And today that is what is happening. Now China, which they never thought, is putting a challenge. Suppose they are able to contain China, and they actually, what US is trying to do now, they have lost faith in Pakistan. Pakistan is already becoming friendly to China, and that is the geostrategy of China to challenge US, making Pakistan and other countries in the Indian Ocean, including Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Kenya, right, and even Bangladesh, because they have spent a lot of money. Hubatata, I told you, Hubatata is one port. Then Gwadar in Pakistan, they have spent billions and billions of dollars. In Kenya also they have spent. In Myanmar they have already spent very huge money. So these countries have become dependent on China already. So China along with Myanmar, along with Bangladesh, along with Pakistan, and possibly they tried with India also, but India refused. And Sri Lanka, they now slowly become very strong, and they are likely to challenge the political supremacy of US now. So what US is doing now, the only hope for US is India. The only hope to challenge China is India. Japan is not a hope. Why? Can you tell me why Japan is not a hope?
Because of Second World War, the
Second World War experiences, as well as countries very small.
political relationship.
They cannot have a very big army. And thirdly,
They have like
they do not have a full-fledged army because they are already under US. Their protection, defense is already under US. After the World War II, after the nuclear bomb which was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there was a treaty between Japan and USA. So Japan and US is already one and the same, right? So the only country for this purpose happens to be strategically located also, and one of the major country in the South Asian region. The only hope is Afghanistan. A hope? Afghanistan, can US use Afghanistan to challenge China?
No, sir.
No. So only way. Now what Henry Kissinger did that time with China to counter Russia, now US will try to do in India, and they are already trying. What Henry Kissinger did by supporting China, to counter Russian threat. Now the equations has changed in the world. Today, US is trying to do the same thing with India now to challenge China. They are ready to invest. They are ready to have political ties. They are ready to have defense ties. They are ready to have business ties with India. Because the only hope in the Indian Ocean happens to be India. And India has one of the largest army in the world. And population is there. So the only choice for US is India. Okay? So now you are understanding how the geopolitical strategy are used. Now we are learning all these things. I'll tell you the reason why we are learning all these things. If you want to play the game of business in the international arena, you need to learn these games. अगर आप ये गेम नहीं खेलोगे तो आप महेंद्र सिंह धोनी नहीं बन पाओगे या विराट कोहली नहीं बन पाओगे आप। इंटरनेशनल मैच खेलने के लिए आपको ये सारे गेम्स आने जरूरी हैं, right? So what I am trying to teach you, I am trying to teach you the geopolitical games. My main purpose is to make you understand this playground, this world. Otherwise, I am international business कैसे करोगे? Strategies, it is already over, right? The result may be whatever the result may be. Outcome may be different from what he had thought, but it actually happened. So there is something called regional stabilizer,
Yes, sir.
which was Zaire, Iran, and Indonesia. Now look at it. At one time, Iran was a ally, and today what is Iran? Iran is the biggest enemy. कैसे समय change होता है? With time, how the geopolitical equation changes. Term है. What is the axis of evil from the US point of view? Which are the countries under axis of evil? 3 countries are there in the axis of evil, which is a threat not only to US, but US says that it is a threat to the world.
Pakistan.
No,
Kazakhstan.
not till now, but in time to come, Pakistan will also be
Iran,
of that. Iran is one.
Iraq,
Iraq, no,
Afghanistan,
no.
Sir, Kazakhstan.
There are 3 countries which are part of the so-called axis of evil
Sir, Islamabad.
from US point of view. One is North Korea,
yes,
second is Iran, and third is Libya. Third is Libya. Libya.
Why US?
Libya is the oldest enemy of US. Oldest. Even during those times. Shaitani. Then what is the relevance to business? What is the relevance to business of whatever we have talked? We are talking of axis of evil, we are talking of tripolar world, we are talking of bipolar world, we are talking of multipolar world. We are talking this and that. Somebody that have led countries to wars, and not only wars, but also recession. हम तो सबक सिखाएंगे जो ग्रोथ होनी चाहिए वो ग्रोथ नहीं होगी, बिजनेस चुपचाप करके बैठ जाएगा, राइट? बट जो ग्रो होने के चांसेस थे वो खत्म हो जाएंगे. ओके, yet the economic conditions in every country is being determined through international trade. In addition, we are connected through international migration and international diffusion of technology. Cheaper products and services which has to be customized. They want the services and solutions to their satisfaction. They want cheap, they want mass production, they want economy of scale, they want everything at the bottom of the pyramid. Bottom of the pyramid पे हर आप सबकी inspiration क्या है कि the aspirations and demands of the customers are changing. They want everything affordable or cheaper, and that is what is the challenge for business. It's a geopolitical change, isn't it? Okay, but why it is possible to provide it? Because the volume is increasing. Technology is improving. Because of technology, you are getting economy of scale, and because of economy of scale, the unit price is coming down, and you are able to provide every facility. You are able to provide every facility, even in the entry-level models. Okay, whether it is mobile phones, whether it is cars, or anything, right? So how do you face this challenge? हो रही है और होती रहेगी. And what are these changes? The biggest change is that technology is available to everybody. आज कोई ऐसी कंट्री नहीं है जिसकी जेब में पैसे हों और टेक्नोलॉजी अवेलेबल ना हो, एक्सेप्ट certain very sensitive technologies. What are these sensitive technologies? Can you tell me? जो पैसा भी खरीद नहीं सकता, like nuclear, chemical weapons. There are certain technologies. पैसा है तो आप समुद्र के खारे पानी को आप मीठा पानी बना सकते हो. But the process of converting saline water into fresh water is very, very costly. But now new technologies are coming which are making it cheaper. Several new technologies are coming which are cost effective, which can convert salt water into sweet water at fraction of prices. So that is what is happening slowly and steadily. It is happening. Still it is a challenge. But these technologies are not the assets or not the secrets of anybody. There is no secret. But there was a world before when these technologies were not easily available, even at a price. So what has happened? Democratization of technology. पूरी दुनिया में हर व्यक्ति को अवेलेबल है, हर किसी को अवेलेबल है, हर कंट्री को अवेलेबल है. डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी. सो अच्छा, ऐसा क्यों हुआ? डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन ऑफ फाइनेंस. Democratization of France. What is the meaning of democratization of finance? Can somebody tell me? What is the meaning of democratization of finance? Flow of capital. Last 10, 15, 20 years, what was the biggest problem of Delhi? Basic problem. Transportation. क्योंकि दिल्ली इतनी बड़ी है, आप रहते हो कहाँ पे? नॉर्थ दिल्ली में. आपका ऑफिस कहाँ है? साउथ दिल्ली में. 2 घंटे तो आपको ऑफिस जाने में लगेंगे. 2 घंटे. द सोल्यूशन वाज मेट्रो. बट व्हाट वाज द प्रॉब्लम विद मेट्रो? कैपिटल नहीं थी. तो जब तक कैपिटल नहीं थी हम नहीं बने. बट बिकॉज ऑफ डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन ऑफ फाइनेंस, जापान गवर्नमेंट, क्या कोई भी गवर्नमेंट बोलेगी यार तुम्हें मेट्रो चाहिए, हम बना देते हैं. क्योंकि why they are spending money on Delhi metro? Can somebody tell me why Japan is spending money on Delhi metro?
Revenue from it.
They can spend their money in metro in Japan also. Why they are spending in India? जापान का जो ग्रोथ रेट है वो लेस देन 1% है, कई बार माइनस में चला जाता है. तो उनके इंटरेस्ट रेट 0 है. अगर आप बैंक में पैसा जमा कराओगे तो रेट ऑफ रिटर्न इज 0 एंड समटाइम्स दे चार्ज यू फॉर हैविंग अ अकाउंट इन बैंक. तो उनका जो पैसा पड़ा है, दे हैव गॉट लॉट ऑफ कैपिटल, उस पर कुछ रिटर्न है ही नहीं. या कम से कम दिल्ली में मेट्रो बनेगी, लोग उसको यूज करेंगे, कुछ तो कमाई होगी, 2-3% तो होगी, कुछ तो रिटर्न आएगा. दैट्स व्हाई दे आर पुटिंग द मनी. बट पहले भी कर सकते थे काम, पर पहले नहीं कर सकते थे क्योंकि पहले कैपिटल फ्लो इतना इजी नहीं था. देयर वर लॉट ऑफ बैरियर्स. बट इन टुडेज वर्ल्ड, आज की दुनिया में कैपिटल फ्लो के कोई बैरियर नहीं. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन?
कोई सर टेक्नोलॉजी बनाने के लिए सर जो नॉलेज चाहिए तो सर एक दूसरे देश को देते हैं, मतलब स्पेसिफाइड देते हैं, मतलब
नहीं, वो तो देखिए इंफॉर्मेशन जरूरी नहीं है टेक्नोलॉजी से रिलेटेड.
मतलब
इंफॉर्मेशन का मतलब क्या है?
What kind of income they are generating and what kind of people are living particularly on the basis of the any
पूरी दुनिया में फ्लो करती है. देयर इज नो इंफॉर्मेशन गैप्स. चाइना ने गूगल को बैन कर दिया. क्या गूगल को बैन करने से सारी इंफॉर्मेशन गायब हो गई? सब कुछ हमसे भी ज्यादा मिल रही है, राइट? तो दिस इज व्हाट डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन. So this is all these things are happened. You are in a new world. You are in a new geopolitical world with all new level which the human history has not seen. एक बात मैं इस बारे में I want to tell you something. There is something I want to tell you. You don't realize it. You are very lucky that you have born in this era. I'm telling you. अगर आप ह्यूमन हिस्ट्री को देखो, क्या कभी ऐसी दुनिया रही है जिस टाइप की दुनिया में आज जी रहे हो आप? हाँ देखोगे वहां अपॉर्चुनिटी है, बट यू हैव टू फाइंड द वे, बट इट कैनॉट हैपन ओवरनाइट. उसके लिए आपको हार्ड वर्क करना पड़ेगा.